Welcome, everybody. My name is Lynette Davis, the president of A&D Media, and I am super excited to have my very special guest, Amanda Abella, with us today, who is the best-selling author of Make Money Your Honey, and I am going to let her jump right in because we are so pressed for time, and it's all my fault. So I'm just going to go ahead and just work through this. So Amanda, welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you for asking me to do this, and don't worry about the time. We can blame it on Hangouts.
Awesome, awesome. So Amanda, um, what I usually like to do is I like to start off with something fun and stick to this whole superheroine theme. So
Okay.
tell me a little bit about yourself and how you serve the world with your unique superpowers, your USP.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm just gonna go based off of what other people have told me because I'm usually really oblivious to these things, and what I've heard and from most people is what they like about me, and I try to do this is I'm real. I'm like a real human being. I'm just a regular person who's putting my life on the internet. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I call myself out. I tell people when I mess up, and I tell people how I'm gonna climb my way out of that. And from the feedback that I've gotten, that's what people really appreciate. That's what they really connect to. That's what they stick to. That's what keeps them coming back. So I guess my superpower, and I didn't even realize was a superpower, is just having the balls, for lack of ovaries, to actually, put myself out there like that and not even really worry about how people are going to react to it. I just do it, and I do it in the hopes of being able to help other people who may find themselves in the same situation. So for me, most recently it's been, all about entrepreneurship and money because that's what I'm dealing with.
Awesome, awesome. And it does take good good ovaries there to do that because a lot of us we get well I would say well even me sometimes a lot of us get so wrapped up in trying to get strategy perfect and we get so lost in our thoughts that we become almost stuck and frozen and we don't do anything about all these beautiful ideas spinning around in our heads. So I
Yeah,
think
I have like the opposite problem. So,
awesome, awesome. So so what I like to do is open up some dialogue about common obstacles that come up for those of us who leverage our social media superpowers as a part of our marketing strategy and our overall unleashing of our USPs into the world. Um, and I think we already began to touch on it, but let's just really break it down a little bit more. So, what is your understanding about the interactions between other forms of very effective marketing, um, and especially what you do, and the use of social media?
ooh, okay. Well, it's really interesting for me because I got like labeled as a marketer and I didn't even know I was marketing. So I think one thing that people run into, kind of like what you were talking about before, is that whole idea that we strategize and we think it needs to look a certain way. I think people have this idea that marketing needs to like you need to have a plan, it needs to be a proposal, it needs to look a certain way, you have to do this campaign, you have to do these numbers, you have to do this and that. And really at the end of the day, and this is something I've come to realize just from doing it, right? It's more about building relationships than anything else. So when people started coming up, like the only thing I was doing in the beginning, not knowing that I was marketing, was, I was making connections, I was meeting people, I was sharing stuff that I found interesting, and I was putting myself out there and I was sharing it on social media, sharing it with friends, all that kind of stuff. And then people started coming up to me and they're like, "Oh, you have great marketing." And I'm like, "What do you mean I have great marketing? I market?" Like, because I thought that too. I thought you needed to be like this specific plan, which we already discussed that I don't do. and and really what it came down to was the fact that I was just building relationships with people.
Awesome, awesome. And in building relationships, because I've been following you for quite a while. I think I follow you all the way from when you were writing for maybe Brads and Careers.
Yeah. Long time. You've been there since the beginning, girl.
I've
It's
been
been
there
going
for
on
I've been
4 years.
champion.
Yeah. You're like one of the OGs, my friend.
I am OG. So I noticed that obviously even if you weren't, you know, intentionally working on all these things, I obviously found you via social media. And I
Yeah.
found you because your messages were getting out there, and obviously other people have found your messages getting out there, or you obviously wouldn't have all these beautiful things on your website of where you've been featured all over the web. So my question to you is, in doing everything that you're doing, what's one of your favorite social media tools to help you do exactly what you do, to build those relationships, to get those media mentions? Do you have any particular favorite tool that you use?
I'm all about blogging. Does that still count as social media? This is how clueless I am as to what I do. I mean, for me, it's all about the blogs. I mean, I do Twitter, I do Facebook, I do groups, I do all that kind of stuff. But for me, it just always comes back to that blog because the reason I have all those media mentions and the reason I've made all those connections is because I'm putting myself out there, and I'm writing my story. And that's why media comes to me because they want to know my story.
Right, right. So, well, I'll be very specific because there's lots of tools and sites
Yeah.
now that you can blog. So, which blogging platform do you use
WordPress,
specifically?
all the way, WordPress.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm going to put it out there because I know that some people who are watching this, they might be newbies and they might be, on all these new cool tools and everything like that coming up. So I would like to be specific. I know that you're using WordPress.org, not WordPress.com, the
Yeah.
one that you have to.
Yes, that is really important to clarify. So like get your own hosting so you can do whatever you want on the website. I use Bluehost and then it comes with WordPress automatically installed. So you just like literally click and it installs WordPress and you can get in through the backend. So do not do WordPress.com, especially if you're looking to monetize because you're really limited as to what you can do and you're limited in design as well. Just get your own hosting, go all the way. And Bluehost is awesome because it's like unlimited everything.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so now, tools are great. We're using WordPress and we're using Twitter and Facebook and all the other things. But the thing is, tools are just that, they're tools. And you emphasized on something earlier about um, why while you're doing all of this, the main thing that you were doing really was building relationships. So one of the issues that I notice when it comes is that we focus so much on these tools, so much on what Facebook can do and what Twitter can do,
And
and
numbers and all that stuff, yeah.
exactly that people are lacking true relationship nurturing, and how very important that is to business growth. So let's talk about that a little bit more as it relates to your area of specialty.
Um, well, let's go back to the book since I know we wanted to touch on the whole best, like blogger to best-selling author. So in terms of building relationships with the book, what I literally did was I got on Skype, like forget subscribers, I mean, I asked on Facebook and I asked my subscribers, that's how I found these people, but I went the extra mile. Instead of just sending out a survey, I actually got on phone calls or on Skype with, blog readers, people following me on social media, past and current clients, friends, colleagues, whatever, and I just started asking them questions like, when you were going into entrepreneurship, what was so scary for you? Like, what was holding you back? What are you dealing with? And I was like, I just want to be of service to you. I want to hear what you have to say. So that's what I did, is I built that relationship up front in terms of like, help me figure out this content. I want to tailor it to you. So when the time came to actually launch the book, well, I already had a bunch of people who were going to buy it, number one, because it was tailored specifically to them. But not only that, I had a bunch of people who were so willing to help me. in terms of promoting it and getting it out there. And you know, I was at the Financial Blogger Conference a couple weeks ago, and I was hanging out with my friend Carrie from Careful Sense, and Carrie comes up to me and she goes, "I still tell everyone to buy your book. Like, I'm constantly talking about your book." And that's a relationship that I started fostering years ago because we started kind of around the same time. And we have a similar story in much the same way of how we even got to where we are. So, I mean, it's not even just fostering relationships with the people who are going to buy stuff from you, it's also fostering relationships with your colleagues and people who are going to help you go further.
Awesome, awesome. You know what? I took note of something that I feel a lot of people don't do. We go out there, and obviously it's important to get into action. I'm all about activation time, as my other logo on my personal blog says, you know, with her fists all pumped in and her big old afro. But I
I love
found
that
it.
logo.
I did too. I had a graphic designer over in the Netherlands create me a comic for me.
That's awesome.
So shout out to him and all the people all over the world, because you know social media help build that relationship so that can happen. I'm just gonna do that little plug there. And but what you said I thought was really important when it comes to just marketing, period, even when you're not intentionally trying to market. Let me focus here because my eyes are like everywhere. I realize I do that when I'm like trying to get into thinking mode. But what you said was that you went and you picked up the phone, or you opened up your computer to Skype, and you had that intimate one-on-one with these people before you even wrote the book, so that you can write very specific content to them. If that's not true marketing, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes my coaching clients come up to me or people that I meet at events and they're like, how do we figure out the next offer? Like, or blog content. A lot of people come to me for blogs, right? Like, so if anyone needs help figuring out blogs, hit me up. But one of the things I get asked all the time is like, how do you come up with content? Or how do you come up with the book? Or how do you come up with the next offering? And I'm like, listen to your people. They're going to tell you what they want and they're going to tell you what they need and tailor it to them.
Exactly.
Ask them,
Awesome.
ask your people. And often I tell people, I'm a fan of Gabrielle Bernstein, and one of the things she says is like, especially when it comes to like abundance and business and money, it's like moving from me to we. So a lot of people go into this and they're like, oh, it's all about me, right? It's all about like the numbers I'm getting and the money and how I look because of this and what I'm writing. And really, it's not about you at all. It's about the people you are writing to.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. Well, ladies and gents, you heard it. You heard it first, right from her mouth. So, so Amanda, in your experience, what online marketing activities would you suggest viewers delegate to their implementation team, so that you yourself can work on the things that you and only you can do? Things like hopping on the phone and speaking to your readers, your audience, your people, your tribe, your community. Because the thing is, I find that in trying to be the superhero and superheroine of our own story, sometimes we interpret that to mean that we need to have, you know, 50 billion arms and try to be all
Superwoman
up in
syndrome,
this.
yeah. Yeah, superwoman syndrome. Yeah, and that doesn't work. Well, so first of all, I would basically delegate. Basically, what I do now is I delegate the community management, the Facebook page, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Now, I know some people also delegate their blogs. I wouldn't do this just because writing is like my particular zone of genius, and I love to do it, and I would probably never give up my blog. I don't care how much time it takes. But for some people, it may be a good idea, and if you are going to hire a writer to do that, I just want people to be very weary of the fact that this writer needs to know your story and how your story even relates to your business. and how to articulate that to your people, because at the end of the day, especially like it's so strange with this whole social media thing, like we're constantly connected but at the same time we're craving personal connection, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
people are kind of like
absolutely.
starved of that, right? And they want to know that there are like real people behind these companies and these brands. They don't just want like facts thrown at them. They want to know the story. They want to know who's behind it. So if you are going to delegate the actual blogging part, I would just be really sure that whoever you hire as a ghostwriter, freelancer, whatever, right, is just really, really clear on your story and how to articulate that to other people and work closely with them so that they know.
Absolutely. And I think even when it's not even your blog, I mean, and I'm saying this because I do run a social media management firm, and so I'm biased to believe that. And also, I also did freelance right when I first started out. It's not my particular zone of genius, so I stopped. But but because I did experience that, I realized that even when you do social media marketing and management on behalf of somebody else, because in essence it's ghost writing, it's ghost
Yeah.
content creation, that you still need to be able to capture the voice and the story of the person that you are doing that management for, because it's community management, so it is their people. You need to be able to talk to their people and relate to their people, and and it starts there. And I know for a fact that when you did decide to delegate, and I'll put my 2 cents in, with a subliminal note, that you made sure to pull from your people when you decided to delegate.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I teach my coaching clients and the students in the Make Money Your Honey Academy is I get asked a lot. I have to write a blog post on how I found you because people keep asking me, but I'll just say the answer now. Um, I wanted to be like, I knew it was time to go to the next level. I knew I couldn't keep doing everything by myself. I knew that this was expanding and growing, and I saw the potential. And I knew that I needed help. That was number one, is just even admitting it, because I definitely had superwoman syndrome. And then number two, I wanted, like, I was doing it for real. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't joking around anymore. It wasn't me, like, hiring a college intern and, like, just telling them what to do, although for some people that works. I wanted to make sure that whoever I brought onto my team, and that goes whether it's you doing my social media or whether it's Rachel doing my web design, like I wanted to make sure like these people get it, these people understand. And you'd been reading my content since forever, right? And then I and then I saw someone post a question in like another circle that we used to run into online, and then it was a match made in heaven from there. And then my web designer was in much the same way. Like she was one of my blog readers, and she'd been following my content forever, and she'd been, commenting on it. And it's just like that relationship was built through social media. Let's plug that again, through social media. And I knew, like, okay, these are the people that need to come on because these are the people who truly understand what it is I'm doing here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we were very subtle with that. People couldn't pick up on it. Awesome. So, um, Amanda, I am so very grateful for your time because I know that you are super busy. I truly appreciate
Waiting
it.
for you, Lynn.
I know, right? And you know what? The thing is, um, we managed to still stay on time, so go figure.
Yay!
So,
So good for us.
so in your face, Google Hangout. Well, let's not talk bad. We want to make sure it stays here. But so before we go, can you leave my people with one takeaway tip or strategy or action step that we can put to immediate use as it relates to everything you just talked about and everything you said, just to let my audience know. Oh, and also to let my audience know where they can find you and learn more about your unique superpowers and your power boosters and everything else of quality that you can give them so that they can be better at what they do.
Cool. So I guess my tip would kind of be like a pre-tip to the tips, if that makes sense. Because without this, like, it doesn't matter what else you do, it's not going to work. And that my tip would be own your story. And a lot of people have a difficult time with that. They think that they need to portray themselves a certain way online. And I guess depending on what you do, that may be true. Obviously, you know, you don't put everything out there, you know, like you can still edit what goes out there. But, you know, own your story, own why it is that you're doing this, own why it matters to you so much, because that's going to be what builds the connections. That's what's going to build the relationships. That's what's going to build the fans. That's how you're going to find your people. So start to own it, and it could be really hard to do that. So what I would do is I would just recommend that they take out a journal, and you know, for example, one thing I do a lot of coaching on is entrepreneurs, and one thing that entrepreneurs deal with all the time is money. It's huge. So I'm like, all right, write out your money story. Like, this is my story with money, and just like go through the whole thing, right? Don't even edit it, just whatever comes to your mouth at first, to your mind at first. And then after that, you know, go in there, reread it, and try and do it from a place where you're not like berating yourself. And if you do find yourself berating yourself, like let's say, oh my gosh, you're thinking I'm such a failure because I got into the student loan debt. You know, let's say you're a personal finance blogger, because I work with a lot of those. You could flip the story and kind of make yourself the hero or the heroine of it, and that kind of starts to help you really own that and be able to share it. Because at the end of the day, you know, those who are teachers, the reason they're such good teachers is because they had to learn a lot of stuff themselves. So really own that story and start putting it out there little by little by little in your social media, in your blog, in your marketing, whatever. And then in order to find me and more tips and goodies like this, all you need to do is go to my website, which is amandaabella.com. You can see how to spell Abella down there in the name tag. Or you could check out my book on Amazon, Make Money Your Honey. And yeah, that's about it. Or, you know, hit me up on Twitter, because I'm constantly on Twitter. Like, I love tweeting people, and that's at Amanda Abella.
Awesome. Awesome. Miss Amanda Abella, thank you so much for your time. You know what? I say that because I know when all the years that I didn't know you, I was not pronouncing your name correct until you started doing
Most
YouTube
people
videos.
don't, and I don't make a big deal out of it. I just like joke. Like most people, like if you look at it, you don't know it's Spanish. So like I don't make a big deal out of it. Um, but I just decided, like, I'm like, okay, I feel Italian today, or I feel Cuban today, or like most people just assume I'm Italian when they see it, and I'm like, actually, it's from Spain. So I just roll with it. I really don't care. Like even in school, I grew up in Miami where everyone speaks Spanish, and everyone would still mispronounce it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Amanda, again, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, I will make sure that all the information is listed on the YouTube channel to get to Amanda's contact information, as well as when I publish this in the evening and on the blog. So, Amanda, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And until next time, take care.